The FCC has proposed some new rulemaking, and in that rulemaking, they are calling for a new fee to be imposed on ham radio operators for licensing renewals and vanity calls. The FCC says this is to offset the tremendous cost of administering the program, and we'll see all kinds of benefits from it. I smell a rat. Let's discuss it this time on K6UDA Radio. In a new news article from the ARRL, the FCC proposes to reinstate amateur radio service fees. This is from 8/28 of 2020, as if we don't have enough to do in 2020. Amateur radio licensees would pay a $50 fee for each radio amateur license application if the FCC adopts rules it proposed this week. Included in the FCC fee proposal are applications for new licenses, renewals and upgrades to existing licenses, and vanity call sign requests. Excluded are applications for administrative updates such as change of address and annual regulatory fees. I'll provide a link in the description below. You can read the article for yourself. I don't need to read it to you. First of all, almost everything the FCC has to do with ham radio or amateur radio is done through the ULS, and it's all automated. It is minimal that they ever have hands-on, so the cost is already built in, and there is no actual real cost. So what are we getting? What benefit do we get from adding $50 each for these transactions? I mean, look at this. They don't even print out an actual copy of your license and mail it to you like they did when I first got licensed. No. Now you can go ahead and print yourself out your own official copy of the FCC license. And really, when you think about it, we're providing a service to the community for no cost to the community. We're paying for our own time, our own gas, our own food, everything. So I think we deserve a little bit of a break there. One thing that I did notice about the article here is this is really, it looks like a straight news article, which, you know what, as far as the news, that's what you'll want. You just report the news. I get it. But the ARRL is an advocacy group. To be perfectly honest, from this article, I can't even tell what the ARRL's position on this new rulemaking is, if they even have a position. New candidates into the hobby, they're going to be discouraged. A lot of them will be discouraged. Add $50 to the cost of getting the license, of taking the test, because the testing fee is still going to have, you know, you're still going to have a testing fee. You're still going to have the studying, the testing. New candidates into this hobby, they will get discouraged by a $50 fee. I guarantee you, going in and spending, say, $15, a nominal fee to take a test, that's one thing, and most people will, if anything, scrape up the money to do that if they have the interest in getting into ham radio. When it becomes $50, I see a whole lot less people wanting to spend $50 just to turn in the application. On top of that, they have to take the test. There's a certain amount of uncertainty there. It looks like a play to discourage people rather than encourage people to get into the hobby. Now, there's a lot of inactive or infrequent users of ham radio now because, hey, they once were active ham radio operators, and for whatever reason, life got in the way, and now they've kind of put the equipment away, but they've still got their license. They're gonna come back someday. Tack on a $50 fee in the midst of their inactivity. They'll just let it lapse. They'll become that non-ham. Then if there's a real emergency, do you think they're not going to break out that equipment and use the equipment even though they don't have a license? You're full of shit. Now big businesses are vying for a limited amount of RF frequency space, and they are trying to buy it from the FCC. Companies like SpaceX, Tesla, UPS, FedEx, they all want the RF. They all want the frequency spectrum for their own purposes, which are usually telemetry, data, all kinds of cool things that make their businesses better, but aren't going to benefit us. And I would venture to guess that a lot of these companies, or a group of these companies possibly, are behind this in a certain roundabout way, because that's how government happens, is the lobbyists drive all this stuff. And they might be playing the long game. What's the long game, you ask? Well, the long game is, look, if we could discourage enough people from getting into ham radio from the outset, and we know that there's a certain amount who will drop out either by dying out or just life gets in the way, and if we don't replace those people and add new people to the ranks, to the roles of the ham radio operators, you'll have less and less and less. And at some point, you'll have so few in the country that these businesses will then be able to convince the FCC to, you know what, sell them 20-meter ham band, to sell them the 10-meter ham band, to sell them 2-meter, 440, 220. These companies stand to make millions or billions of dollars in added revenue. Do you think they're going to let the fact that we're honorable people who want to do good for our communities get in the way of their millions? Equipment manufacturers likewise rely on an increasing number of applications of new hams coming into the hobby that require equipment, of existing hams who want to upgrade their equipment. There's a little bit less than 1 million of us ham radio operators in the United States right now. Take your average cell phone manufacturer with sales of 1 million units a month, going into the hands of millions and millions of people. They have the incentive to create and implement lots of new technology. Ham radio manufacturers, on the other hand, they use ham radio to kind of keep things just going. They might add a little bit of tech in there from time to time. Things like, you know, the 705 is a smaller leap forward. The Flex was the first big leap forward. But as the roles of ham radio, as the user base drops, and if it drops to a certain point, how many of these companies do you think will be left making ham radio gear? And the stuff that we have, man, in 20 years, tube radios will be again the modern technology in ham radio. Vanity calls. Now here is something that I can actually get behind the FCC proposal in charging their $50 fee for. There are guys out there, and you know who you are, who collect 1x2s and 2x1 calls, and you're doing it kind of as sport, but you're also tying up those calls each time you do it for 2 years at a time, or 2 additional years after you've changed your 1x2 or 2x1 to another 1x2 or 2x1, in order to keep us no code hams out of your 1x2 club. And I know personally, I know guys who have gone out and they've done this 3 or 4 times. That is an abuse of the system. Yeah, if the FCC wants to charge $50 to get a vanity call sign, that's okay with me. That way, if you really want to get a vanity call sign, you're going to fork up $50. And if you want to play the you can't be in my 1x2 club game, then it's going to cost you $50 a shot. And if that's worth it to you, more power to you. So what can you and I do about this? There is FCC public comment, and I will put a link to that public comment down in the description below. But honestly, we need more. We need the ARRL involved. We need organizations like W5YI involved. We need your local ham club and you involved in this. Guys, if this is important to you, if this is important to your club, put together a petition to the FCC, get all your members to sign it, ask the FCC to exclude ham radio new licenses and renewal licenses from this $50 fee. Let them know your thoughts, let them know whatever you want to say, but you know, I mean, what I want to say is we provide a service to the community. Unlike the commercial ventures that are trying to buy the spectrum, they're making a profit off the spectrum. The frequencies, the airwaves, my friends, belong to you and I. And about that public comment, I've heard from an insider in the satellite industry that other big tech that wanted to take over, 3 gigahertz, they flooded the FCC rulemaking comment section with bots. And those bots, basically, they faked people, and they made comments, you know, thousands upon thousands of comments in favor of this one industry. So I don't have a lot of faith in that. I don't have a lot of faith in that process. Those of you that are ARRL members currently, get with the ARRL. Let them know that you demand that they do something, that they advocate for ham radio. They advocate for us, the ham radio operators. And I'll tell you what, to the management, to the leaders of the ARRL, this is your perfect opportunity. Like I said before, this is your absolutely perfect opportunity to earn my business back, earn my membership, do something for ham radio, advocate strongly, loudly, don't give up, don't be the NRA. Remember, not everybody in the ARRL is there to support LOTW and contesting. That's a small part of what people pay their ARRL membership for. The biggest thing that they pay for is the fact that you're supposed to be there to protect the spectrum. I hope you do it. Guys, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, the bell notification right next to it. Please check out my Patreon, my PayPal. Consider supporting the cause here. And I will see you next time. I'm Bob, K6UDA. I'm out of here. 7-3.